The hardest part when you do a podcast with a great guest, coach, mentor, um, long time, like Casey Eberhart, is we get ready to record and then we have a great conversation of all the good stuff and you missed it. But I took notes. We're going to talk about it over this call. I'm really excited to share again, returning guest on this program, my networking coach, my mentor, and how I built my podcast, Casey Eberhart. Casey, thank you so much for coming back.
Bill, thank you so much for having me. It's always a good time to talk with somebody that gets it and has the ability and desire to share that with others. So this is always awesome for me.
And on top of that, you're also a very active real estate investor. You're full time looking for deals, buying deals, selling deals, holding deals, talking to people, helping real estate investors build their business. So for those of you who are in the probate space looking to also do investments either on the side of your real estate business or legal business, obviously Casey can speak from experience. So one of the things we talked about that I think is the core of this episode, I said to you something, every single successful investor I ever met, every single successful realtor I ever met, every single successful attorney I ever met had a system for generating business. Now they didn't do it 8 hours a day, they did it for 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day. They didn't all do the same thing, some phone calls, some door knocks, some mailed, some this, some that. But they all did something consistently over time that generate people they talk to. Now, we call that a system, marketing system. And then you add to that how to do that where that interacts with networking in person.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's start with the premise. You listed off all the successful types of people that have a system. I would say that I've never met somebody that I would consider successful or they would consider successful that didn't have some version of a system, right? And system for me is just an acronym, which stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money, right? It's just a thing that you do or a process that you do or a lead flow that you do that works over a long period of time to bring the cost of resources, whether that's time, energy, money, down to generate a profit. Now, some people could use a billboard, and that's their system. Some people could pass out CDs on the side of a street. That's a system. Some people go to a networking group like a BNI, Latip, team. That's a system. Some people door knock. That's a system. I think the key is that successful folks I've found, whether they're investors or agents or brokers or bankers or attorneys, they have some way to generate leads for their business. When you're in the advice business or the guidance business or the people business, I believe that one of the most valuable systems or things, plans that we could do is to have some version of that be a network, right? Now, it's a little different if you got a brand and you're selling shampoo. Then it's about who are your relationships to get your shampoo on the store shelves, right? In the real estate business, we're in the people business, right? I spend a lot of time in business M&A, mergers and acquisitions, buying and selling businesses. And, we were talking off camera, Bill, about a deal that you had that came through your network. And I think if you shared that story with a group of people, a lot of people would have deer in their headlights. Wait, what? And I didn't have any reaction other than, yeah, because every real estate deal, I would say almost every real estate deal I've done, almost every single business merger acquisition transaction I've done has all come out of my network.
Right.
All the capital that I've raised, all of the deals that I have moved product through, buy and sell, or what I like to call deliver and take a sliver, which is I generate a lead over here, I pass it to someone over here, I take a slice out of the center, lather, rinse, repeat until bald or rich. It's not hard, but people aren't intentional or on purpose with it. And when you're not intentional or on purpose with sort of pouring into your network and growing your network, then you better have some other system that's working for you. And when you're in the people business, not having people to talk to is a problem.
So when you say network, I think somehow that gets misunderstood by people who don't want to do the work. In that, well, all the business comes from people you already know. Well, no, there's 7 billion people in the world. You might know 100 today. They're in your network. The 6.999 are not yet in your network. One by one, they go in your network, get some sort of nurturing, processing, education, marketing message, and then raise their hand and say, hey, I'm in your network and I want to buy, or I want to sell, or I want to do whatever I want to do. So it's really everybody, I think, at some point is passing into, and that's the concept I got from you, is passing into or through your network.
And you just hit upon a really critical component, in or through, right? It's. I know this seems like a silly example, but literally I'm right in the middle of teaching a 4-week intensive on using the site Meetup for people. And I got a text message this morning, a Facebook message from somebody who I don't really know. I would actually say they're not really in my network, other than they must follow me on social media. And he said, hey, I know you through, and named a person, and I saw this meetup needs an organizer. Here it is. Well, it turns out that it's a perfect meetup that I want to take, that I want to take over. It's like my ideal customer profile. It's in Southern California here. And that didn't come from me not telling people that I was taking over meetup groups. So
you only told them that 5 million times, I think I heard myself.
Yeah, I mean, so I think part of the network is, I think there's a couple of components to it, right? One is how does one decide that, quote, somebody is, quote, in their network? For me, I have a different threshold than other people, right? For me, it's when I have them programmed in my phone with a name and phone number, and they have me programmed in their phone with a name and phone number. Right? To me, there's just a level of that's important. So if I'm at a networking event and I meet somebody that I think is great, or that I think would be valuable, or I think I could help, or I think, I didn't set them next to me before this, but I have these little black books that I carry around with a pen. And when I'm meeting somebody, or I'm talking to somebody new, or I'm at a networking event, for goodness sakes, you're at a networking event and people stand up and tell you what they are looking for, and nobody writes it down. Nobody listens. They're just trying to get it to themselves so they get to stand up and say what they're looking for. And I'm the goof that's sitting there taking notes because, in the real estate world, I look at it like a wholesale deal, right? Somebody has a property they got to get rid of. They don't want to take the time, energy, money, and resource to fix it up and sell it on the retail and go through that whole hassle. So what do? They call somebody and say, hey, buy this for next to nothing. Just get it off my plate. I want to be that call. I don't care whether somebody knows if it's for me or it's in my buy box.
Right.
That can be handled separately.
Right.
Bill, the way I look at it is this. When somebody says to somebody else, hey, I've got this problem, can you help me solve it?
Yes, I can.
And that person says, you know what? I got a guy. I want to be that guy. And if people approach their network of being the guy or the gal that your network is referring to you to solve problems all day,
yes,
then you never run out of people to talk to, because Lord knows there's enough problems to solve all the time.
We get paid to solve people's problems.
Yeah.
I get paid to solve people's real estate problems. Oftentimes it's a probate, litigation, family feud, whatever, legal paperwork problem. I solve that problem. That's what I do to get paid. So
our ability to get paid is the size of the problem we solve in the marketplace.
Exactly.
Right? The bigger the problem, the more we tend to make. And that just comes back to supply and demand, right? And now look, I've had a couple of really interesting conversations around the topic of AI and how this all plays into it, which I'm sure we can explore if you want. But we are now getting to a point where people are no longer using Google. They're using chat or one of these other things. I literally had a conversation this morning with somebody that was asking me about a 12-step program, a 12-step anonymous program, right? And I said, well, you can go to the website, you can buy some literature, you can go to a meeting where she goes, oh no, hang on a second, I'm chat GPTing it. And I'm like, you are like, this is where we are today. Right? So
because it gives you the answer, not more work, right? A Google search gives you 10 websites, and you need to figure out, well, I have to skip the sponsored and the ads, and then this really doesn't quite hit it right. But here it is. I have to go on their website and figure out what to do. Versus ChatGPT just answers your question because they already read the website. And they're just telling you, they're solving your problem for you.
Yeah, and I think part of it is people aren't using it to think for themselves, so they're using less and less to think for themselves, and I think we're losing that people to people connection, which is ultimately going to create a little bit of a challenge, I think.
So definitely what I wanted to bring up with you is, to me, it seems like it's one thing if you're running a big data center or a big accounting business. AI has all kinds of deep, positive cost savings, operational issues. As individual, and many of your clients are individual like me, individual solopreneurs, entrepreneurs at a lower level, and we get sold all this attention to use AI to eliminate talking to a customer. Here's a great chat bot. They'll have all these conversations with your customer, so they don't need you. I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's just called Google or Facebook. That's how they get rid of me. They can't get rid of me with my customers because I'm so valuable in learning how to talk properly with my prospects. And so it seems to me that so many solopreneurs have it backwards. They're trying to use AI to eliminate that which they should be doing, which is, as you mentioned, the connection with people.
Right before we turned the camera on, you and I.
That was the best episode ever, the one that we didn't record.
I know.
Watching this, sorry, that's just how it was. It just goes.
We need to learn to just not even think about it, just turn it on and roll, right? But I was telling you about a conversation I had this morning with an investor broker up in one of my best friends up in Washington. And he and I were talking this morning, and we were talking about getting to the finish line, whatever that means for people, right? Whether that means a time of retirement, a money retirement, whatever the experience, right? And you jokingly said, well, yeah, but how about just getting to do the things that you want to do and not do the things you don't want to do? And I think that is where AI has a real ability to help people.
Yeah.
But I fear that one of the things that a lot of people are trying to do is get out of talking to humans. And look, we're in crazy times, politic-wise. We're in crazy times. A few years out of COVID, like we're a crazy time right now in the real estate market. We're just in crazy times. I really hope that we can figure out that people are the ones on the other end of a credit card. People are on the other end of a telephone. People are on the other end of a transaction. And at the end of the day, it's those of us that recognize that people are at the heart of what this all is right now. I just think that, to me, that's the soul of business.
Right, that's the win. Whoever controls that controls the business.
Mm-hmm.
Google cannot replace that personal interaction that I have with my customers when I'm focused in on them, focused on the problem, and I can deliver a solution to the problem. I think you're 100% right. I know for me personally, it's been very convenient. I used to go to live events all the time. It got a lot harder to put them on, a lot more expensive, a lot more work. People are less inclined to go. And the video for me has gotten a lot easier. That's why I run this podcast, because I can talk to so many more people at once. But at the end of the day, I still need to meet with some people. There's no way around that. And so when I go and want to be effective, I think of all the skills you teach, the one that I feel that you are the master of, that I think you undersell yourself, but it's just my recommendation is the skill of when you're at a live event, how you conduct yourself in a way that's productive, valuable to your prospects, and productive for your business. And I learned that by going I believe, still do host a real estate event every Wednesday at Van Nuys Boulevard at the Sizzler. And you go there, and I'd watch the way that you conduct yourself. And I watch all these other people who you train conduct themselves that way. I said, something's going on here. I went in on that. So talk a little bit about when you go to an event live, what are some common mistakes and what are some of the common strategies? Or maybe just focus on the strategies to be productive when you go so that you're not, people are out of practice. They don't want to go. Now they're out of practice. They don't go. They don't go. Now they're even worse out of practice. So they need to have some confidence steps. So what are one or two things you would focus on to be productive?
Yeah. So again, to me, it's just a system. I don't need notes to go through this because I've done it so many times. It's just, I can do it unconsciously, competently at this point. Right. So the first thing is, no matter how, quote, out of practice you are, the reality is nobody is there to buy your stuff. They just ain't. No. And the reason they're not there to buy your stuff is because they are there to sell you their stuff.
Yes. Everybody,
right?
Can I just stop one second? Everybody in the room wants to sell you their stuff. You said that, but I make sure everybody gets this. Yeah. That's all they're thinking. How do I sell him on me being the best at what I do? That's all they're thinking about.
So number one is I just position myself as a buyer. If nobody in the room is a buyer, right, and I raise my hand and essentially say I'm a buyer, right, then I get all the attention. Let's start there, right? Number two, there are some fundamentals. I show up early because that's where the good stuff is.
Yes.
I try to be as close to the front door as I can and introduce myself as people walk in the door. So I have the first handshake. That's like first mover advantage. And I essentially go in with a strategy of who I want to connect with. And it's always kind of the same people at every event. It's whoever's the speaker. It's whoever's the organizer. And then the other people are what I call the GSDers. They get stuff done. Get stuff done. Who are the people that just like have a spark? They get it. They have it. The reason, Bill, that you and I connected, I believe, was because when you walked in that very first time to Sizzler, I'm like, listen, he shows up, he's sharp dressed, he's got his stuff together, he knows what he's talking about, he understands probate. You get that from talking to you in like 1.2 seconds. It's like, this is a guy who gets it. Versus somebody that's going to wander in late, have 4 glasses of wine, has cat hair all over their suit. It becomes a sixth sense in the sense that I'm looking to connect with people that I think are sharp. Why? Because they have networks. Going back to your point of, I want people to move in and through the network. It's important to me to have people on my front line of the network, if you will, that have networks of people. It's not as valuable to me as to have somebody close to me that doesn't have a network or doesn't have people they want to connect with, or, that are introverts that don't want to do anything. And they're kind of just I find that those people, as awful as this is going to sound, and I don't mean it to sound awful, but ultimately I think those folks end up in jobs, and that's cool. That's awesome. It's just not the group that has a lot of social capital to deploy. Right. And so, and someone will say, well, yeah, but Case, not everything's business. I'm like, yeah, but you could be building your network in your synagogue. You could be building it in your church. I have a friend of mine who works with real estate agents who are only in AA. There are networks and communities of people all over the place. All a community really is a group of people that are there for some common reason or purpose, right? You'd go to a knitting class and build a network in a knitting class if you're into knitting, or if you're into motorcycle riding and you're a grandpa and there's a group of grandpas that get together and play poker. So when you're going back to your live event thing, number one, I'm showing up. Let me back up. If everybody that's a solopreneur, entrepreneur, micropreneur, or in a business that has under 50 employees, let's just call it under 50 employees, or 50 people on your team, or 100 people on your team, or whatever it is, if you truly understood the lifetime value of a single customer, I truly believe you would show up differently. So I do this event called Networking Riches, and it's literally the first thing out of the gate we do with everybody. Is I say, listen, we are going to sit and figure out what your lifetime value of a customer is. If you're an agent, it's a little bit hit and miss. You're all over the place, right? But if you're in Los Angeles, you're selling $2 million homes, you're at a 5% commission. That's $100,000, split it 50-50, or 40 grand, probably 40 grand. They're going to buy a house every 4 years, and you're going to be in the business 20 years. It's, a couple $100,000, $300,000 lifetime value of a customer. So the question is, are you showing up at a live event like every person you're talking to is worth $300,000 in your business, or are you showing up like they're $13.12?
Or like you have nothing else to do, but this checks the box that you were working.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm supposed to go to a networking event. Yeah. Really, my networking, and Bill, you've seen me at Sizzler. I can be in and out of Sizzler. I'm pretty much done with the event before it ever starts.
100%.
Right?
Yeah,
I know who I'm going to talk to.
You can't talk during the event. So all the talking is either show up early or stay late, one of the two. You can't just be there during the event because you missed the whole time. The whole event is before the event or after the event. Yeah, and truth be told, 99% of my follow-up is done before I ever leave the event. So I go to the Sizzler, I meet Bill, he's the speaker, he's the organizer, or he's one of the GSDers. He's a GSDer. Okay, great, Bill. Hey, tell me a little bit about you. I run a podcast on probate. I'm a real estate agent. I'm with EXP. I'm growing my EXP team. I'm all over the place. Okay, cool, awesome. Bill, hey, let's take a quick selfie. I want to follow up with you afterwards. So I will literally take my phone. Bill, jump in here. Arm around Bill, snap photo. Looking upwards. Always take from above down so you don't have your chins. Right, take down. Great. Bill, hey, I want to send you this photo. I literally take my phone, open it up, I hand Bill my phone. I've done this thousands of times. I've never had somebody slap the phone out of my hand. What do? They take my phone, they put in their number. Awesome. Bill, I'm going to send you this right now. Boom. I send him the picture right there on the spot. Bill gets picture. Bill shows me he got picture, so he can't give me a fake number. Right? Now I know Bill has my picture in the phone. Yeah. Now, that's if I do that 2 or 3 times at an event, I'm done. But let's take this half step further. Then the event comes and people are getting up and they're telling all their crap that everybody, hey, I sell this. I'm the best dog groomer on the planet, or I'm the best insurance agent on the planet, and you should hire me. And nobody's listening because they're just panicked that they're going to come next, or they're exhausted. They don't know what they're saying. They're not prepared. So now they're just done that they went. So now they're not paying attention. And now they're checking Facebook and Instagram or whatever. And I stand up and I'm like, hey guys, my name's Casey. I'm super stoked to be here. Hey, by the way, I had a chance to meet Bill Gross. And if you guys have probate questions, or you're in the real estate game and you need like somebody that really understands real estate and really understands the intricacies of probate and how complicated that can be, or you happen to be an attorney and as an attorney, you just aren't resourced up in terms of how to work a probate deal, then you got to go talk to Bill. Bill, where are you? Oh, Bill, raise your hand. Great, you guys go talk to Bill at the end of the meeting. Now, here's the thing, and I sit down. Own me and my first child. Here's the thing. I just did for Bill, number one, what he cannot nor will he do for himself. Number one. Right. Number two, the only person really listening is Bill. So now I've met him. I've taken his picture. I've sent it to him. I've now promoted him from the front of the room. I've given up my valuable seconds in trying to pitch myself that nobody's there to buy. So now I just sit down. Do you think it's possible when I follow up with Bill later, or because I just texted him, he's going to text me back and go, wow, that was really awesome. Now I have some social capital. I can say, hey, Bill, let's get on a call. But I get my car. I go through and I go to the top. I literally just do a quick video text. Hey, Bill, this is Casey Eberhart. My last name is spelled Eberhart, E-B as in boy, E-R-H-A-R-T. Hey, it was great to meet you today at the Sizzler at the PTRE event. I can't wait to get to know you a little bit better. If there's anything I can do to help you in your probate business, please do not hesitate to reach out. If there's a time you and I could chat, either send me your calendar link or I'll send mine over and let's get a chance to get on the calendar.
Boom. And that's it. My video, those are 30-second videos, done 3 or 4 in a car on my way home. I'm done. Now, let's break this down. What actually happened? The reason I said my name, and I'll probably put it in the text, is because I want Bill to remember how to spell my name. Right? Number 1. Number 2, the reason that there's a picture and there's a reason that in the video that I say you and I met at the Sizzler on Van Nuys Boulevard is because I'm probably not programmed in his phone right away. But now when I send him that video and he watches it, now I remember it. But here's the magic, Bill, and you know this because you've been around me for a while. A month from now or 2 months from now, when I text you randomly just saying, hey, Bill, it's great your name popped up. I'm at an event. Your name popped up. I was just thinking of you. And he gets a message and I'm not programmed in his phone. Now he's got a couple of reference points. He's got a video from me. He's got a picture from me. He's got a text inside of there. I now have a much deeper connection with him, whether or not actually going to do business with him. Does that make sense, Bill?
Oh, 100%. In fact, and just for those listening, this is why when I go to real estate events, I always go to all the vendors because, and I used to go to a real estate event here in LA, and I paid to be a vendor, but I never would stay at the booth. Why? Because I don't want people to walk up to me. I want to meet the vendors because they're the people who, to use your word GSD, who are getting stuff done. They're paying money to be there. They have a business of some sort. So
they're paying money to generate leads
right.
that you desperately want.
Right. And so I invite them on my podcast because they want to promote, they're saying I want to promote my business. I want to meet them, and the podcast started really as just a way that people would mostly say yes. So I could meet them. It was almost like hey, can I meet you? Sure. Great. Here's my link. We'll do a podcast episode. Really, I'm talking about their business, learning who they are, and if I can help them as a client. So
now, Bill, let me ask you this because I think this is really important because I'm a huge fan of everybody doing a podcast. Okay. Now, we could go into an entire dissertation on the reasons why I think everybody should do a podcast, but it happened today. So this is I'm going to guess. You tell me if I'm right. The podcast episodes that actually get put on YouTube that you guys are watching right now are not even the good stuff compared to what goes on before the interview and after the interview.
Oh, yeah.
But the before and after is the relationship capital that's being built. What you guys are seeing is a representation of what Bill and I both want you to see.
And it's not that I'm trying to hide it. It's not that at all. I mean, I want to be transparent and I want to have the best episode for people to watch. I do take pride in doing this the best I can. But you're right. When we first, someone like you who I've known for years now, you've been instrumental in my business, or an attorney who's like a top attorney, and I get a chance to talk to him, it's like magical, and yet we haven't turned the camera on. What's happening?
You know why? It's because is so often in today's marketplace, we're all in Instagram mode, or we're all in Facebook Live mode, or we're all in YouTube mode. And Bill, you are literally one of my favorite podcasts to watch because you do a stellar job at pulling that gold out of whoever your guest is for the audience, right?
I mean, and again, I tried to hide anything before. It's just you just can't help it. Every single podcast, I say, stop. This is the good stuff. We need to get this on the video.
Yeah, because
every episode.
Because what's happening off camera is the true human-to-human relationship building, and you're just having a conversation, and we're not fearful of saying it. Like I've even caught myself because I tend to have a bit of a potty mouth, and I'm catching myself. Whereas if the camera wasn't running, I would be a little bit more freer in what I say. Now I'm just saying whatever I want. One of the great things about your guests is they don't come on and need notes. They're fully prepared. Like they know their stuff. And that's the reason that you can get them on your show and they want to come to your show is because you do a fantastic job of letting them be who they are. My point is that the before and after the actual interview shot for everybody doing a podcast, this isn't just Bill. This isn't Bill specific. This is everybody doing a podcast. The build up to be a guest on my show. Here's reminders on my show. Here's what I want to talk about. Let's have a pre-interview. Interview. Thanks for being on my show. How do I get you back? Building it. It's just another step in the process of building a relationship. Whereas if I wasn't on the show, or you didn't have a guest, you didn't have a podcast, you meet somebody at the Sizzler, and now there's more steps where when you've got a podcast, you have that ability to, again, here's the thing. You can get a lot of people to talk to you, but you're not going to get talking to you if they don't think there's something in it for them. And something in it for them, in theory, is, oh, this will be put on YouTube and you'll get to be in front of your ideal client. The reality is, like, I teach clients and consulting clients, I'm like, I need you to have a podcast, and I don't care whether a single person watches it. I want the people that you want to do business with as guests on your podcast, because the relationship building that goes into that isn't even
it's just cheaper than taking you out to lunch. I could do a podcast episode, and it's as effective. It really is kind of interesting.
I literally have two friends of mine that have built a multi-million-dollar podcast based on them taking somebody to lunch and putting the phone down and recording the conversation.
Wow.
They literally called it Business Lunch. Wow. I mean, that's the name of the show, Business Lunch. That's Roland Frazier and Ryan Dice, two of my great friends. And now they've evolved, but in the beginning, it was like they were going out and taking like really cool people, interesting people to lunch. And then they would have these like amazing, deep sales conversations and marketing conversations and strategy conversations. And finally, I don't know which one of them said, well, we should just record this. So they took the phone out and recorded it. And I'm like, well, maybe we should just put this up. And people loved it. And now it's turned into this huge deal.
If you watch Seinfeld, you know, the whole gimmick about what's the show about? The show's about nothing. Like, this conversation is an episode. So when people ask me as guests, well, what are we going to talk about? I said, imagine we're both married and our spouses are at the same convention. And it's about 4:55, and our spouse is supposed to be around on 5 o'clock. And we're hanging in the bar waiting for him to come out and see us. And I say, what do you do? And you say, I'm a probate attorney. Wow, I'm a probate real estate agent. And we just shared war stories. That's the episode. It's just you and me talking over beer. And as long as it's and they go, well, how long do you talk for? As long as it's interesting. When I'm bored, I wrap it up. That's just how it goes. Or if my grandson.
That's why normally Bill and I's podcasts go on for 7-8 hours at a time, because he's never bored. No, but if you think about like I come from television production and film production. So if you go back and just using your Seinfeld analogy, what's the show about? The show is about nothing. But if you look at the four of them, those four characters, the show was really just about day-to-day life of them swapping war stories. And in that experience, they became tighter and tighter and tighter.
Right. And
relationships ensue. Right. And then they got to know who each other was dating and family, and it extended and extended and extended and extended. I think one of the challenges that people have is they try too hard to. I think they try too hard to just not be valuable to whoever's watching in a podcast scenario. I mean, I watch a lot of podcasts where I applaud them for doing a show, and they can even get fairly good guests. And then, like, look, you guys, here's the deal. At the end of the day, I'm here because I'm in awe of what Bill Gross has done. He's built a magnificent, amazing organization of EXP agents. He's built a nationwide platform, performance-based in the probate space. He is a stellar relationship manager. He is a stellar human being. And when you find somebody that is as good as Bill Gross is, you harass him to get on his show because you want and need and desire to be in Bill's presence. And that's why I think everybody, Bill, that watches this show, that's heard about you, that's been in a room with you, that's been on the other side of a transaction from you, keeps coming back for more and more and more and more and more. It's because you over deliver the human experience in such a way that isn't you acting, it isn't you transacting, it isn't you doing or being anything other than a super valuable component to the marketplace. And, you know, I mean, your career is an example of that. And I wish everybody that watched this was like Yeah, I just want to be like Bill. It's not hard. He doesn't hide it. Just
No, yeah, it's not really that hard. It's not rocket science. I'm just me. Imagine I have a podcast. Like, it's me. I'm not like the most charismatic guy. I'm me. So first off, I'm glad that was all recorded and I can chop it up and use that. And so we kind of bled over the third thing I really wanted to talk about before we wrap up, which is I think everybody should have a video, blog, podcast method of connecting with their customers, their referral sources, and prospects, and share that with their audience as a way to pre-audition for the business that they're looking for. I was on your coaching program, I want to say it was 4 or 5 years ago. I had already started this call as a audio conference call. The idea of doing video was new. And again, I'm just me, I'm an older guy and I'm not, but you challenged a woman on the call and me to just hit record and do something every day for 30 days. You just said, just do that. And the first ones I did were on Facebook. And after I realized that wasn't my format that worked for my business, and there's a lot behind that. And, it was all terrible. It was just horrific. And I started recording, but it took a while to start getting traction. But after a while, you do 30, 50, 100, you figure things out if you're paying attention. And this has transformed my business. And so I know that one of the techniques that you teach in your coaching is for people to get into it. I've heard you mention this concept and use me or other people as examples along the way. Where is the video opportunity today compared to where it was 5 or 6 years ago? How important is it for people to launch something? I'm on that soapbox because it works for me. Am I biased by that? Is that really important for people still?
Yeah, by the way, she just celebrated 7 years of doing a video every single day. Still to this day is still doing them every single day. So I want to just go back to 2000, probably about 2009. In 2008, I found myself in a network marketing company of all things. And I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what home-based business, I didn't know any of that. It doesn't matter. I was at an event and I watched the guy in front of the room, and he had a little whiteboard and he was drawing stuff on and he was doing the presentation. And he said something when I asked him after the event. I said, why do you do this? I know it's a fear of public speaking. Why do you do this? And he turned to me and he said something that I'll never forget it. It's literally the basis of this whole thing. And he said, he or she who has the marker makes the money. And I went, I don't really get it. And then it hit me that night that whoever was in front of the room speaking to the room was usually the one that made the most money. Why? Because they understood the power of not one-to-one, but one-to-many. Right? And so when I look at why do I think video, why do I think a podcast, why do I think YouTube videos, why do I think doing Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives or TikTok Lives why do I believe all of it is so important? Because the way we consume content today is in a fast-paced video space, number one. And number two, Bill is doing this recording, and there is a very high likelihood that no matter how many people Bill would actually introduce me to, more people will watch this video than he could introduce me to in a one-on-one environment. Okay. And so the reason I think video is so important is because people want to do business with people they know, like, trust, and remember. And if somebody consumes your content, I have 5 or 6 podcasts that I never miss an episode on. Why? I like the guests, I like the premise, and I like the host. And so, Bill, you said something that was really important, and I don't want to get that glossed over, which is you're auditioning for the business. Right? So if you are a contractor, or you're a crypto investor, or you're a real estate investor, or you are a cabinet maker, or you are I'm working with a new client that just opened a little private boutique gym, right? At the end of the day, your message is going to be consumed by your potential audience, and we want to do business with people that we know, like, trust, and remember. There are hundreds of probate real estate agents, hundreds, if not thousands. But why Bill, right? Because I can go on and watch 5, 6, 10 episodes of his videos. I've caught him. He's a guest on other people's show. He's on EXP stages. He's all over. The credibility goes way up because he's like, oh, he's got a podcast. Oh, he's articulate. Oh, he knows what he's talking about. Hey, I kind of like him. I kind of like that he's got, that leather chair. Oh, I have that same headset that he has. Oh, we both wear glasses. We're looking for what he doesn't have is the Bill Gross podcast guest mug right here with his name on it. But
well, the good news is that's the 1.0 version, and as a return guest, you get the 2.0 version next.
Oh, I love that. I love that U-Haul, by the way, is getting like a whole. I just realized that they're getting huge earned media attention right down here. It's important because it is the thing that bridges the gap and builds the relationship between an audience member and a host when the host isn't in front of that person at all times.
My YouTube channel plays about 100 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't work 7 days a week. I certainly work 100 hours a day.
Well, look, 100 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's 700. That's 3,000 hours of attention that you are commanding.
Crazy.
For 2 hours a week, or how many ever episodes you shoot a week.
Yeah, the leverage is amazing.
The best part is when you're the best part is when you want to spend time with the grandkids, or you want to spend time with your daughter, or you want to spend time with your wife. You can, because you still have 100 hours of video being consumed.
I just block out that part of the calendar, and that doesn't get booked, and I book time to other slots. Well, look, and just for those who don't know, Casey probably went to U-Haul and got like $100 a month.
I've sold the. Yeah. I really want to do this, and I want to send a sponsorship thing to U-Haul that says,
It's hysterical. No, that's just hysterical. Okay, so one of the things I want to promote, and this is not Casey's doing it all, but just purely on mine, is his Networking Riches program. He does this almost every month, every 2 months. The next one's not yet scheduled, but it's in October. Go and sign up now, because you'll get in the email and then you get invited when the dates are set and all those details. It's a 2-day online event where he really goes through this kind of the whole process that he talks about from top to bottom. I've probably done it, 5 or 6 times to this day. Whenever I see a schedule, I'll pop in for a couple hours just to refresh and kind of get the smell back in my nose of what the focus is of building these systems. It's phenomenal. Of course, there's ways you can upgrade, and then from there he has coaching programs. This is a chance, again, to audition with him and see if it's a good fit. And it was for me. It's been fantastic. And then the PIC program came from that as well. So Casey Eberhart, his website is CaseyEberhart.com, and we'll get that. You got the Frank Sinatra look with a microphone. What are you singing there?
So the funny thing about that picture in particular, people that know me actually crack up about this. Yeah. First off, you're never going to see me in a suit jacket. That is in London, and I was speaking I can tell you exactly where that was. That was in 2017. So clearly I've got my realtor photo on my website. The photo that was taken a gazillion years ago, but we still use it. I got invited to come to London. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and I was on stage Friday morning in London keynote speaking at a Bitcoin conference. And I didn't even know what Bitcoin was. I literally watched a 30-minute documentary on the flight over to London. But somebody in my network felt I would be a good MC and felt I could pull off a keynote speech at the last minute. So that is me in London with 48 hours notice, speaking at a Bitcoin conference. And it was incredible. There were like 100 different countries represented. So they had all these translations in the translation booths in the back. And it really came down to that phrase that's on there, which is connectivity is today's new currency. And that connectivity is whether it's video, relationship, crypto, whatever. It's all about that connectivity.
And I think people hear the phrase network, your network is your net worth, and they don't understand it's not just the numbers of people, but it's also the quality and the depth of your network. Those two factors combined is in your business, your net worth. And so, again, a master on that subject is Casey Eberhart, and Networking Riches is his main program. I would say sign up for that. And you can find that at networkingriches.com if you want to do that, or reach out to me. I'd be more glad to put you guys together. And then Casey can be found most Wednesdays at 11 on Van Nuys Boulevard at the Sizzler for a real estate event here in Southern California.
They should be paying us for as much as we promote.
How about
But,
you just turn the music off while we talk?
Yeah.
How about just that would be nice, Sizzler. I'm just saying.
The irony is now I own part of a blockchain music label, so we buy music catalogs. So I'm always hoping that we're secretly making money off the music that's being played in Sizzler. But
Okay.
Bill, I just want to thank you on behalf of everybody that's ever been not only a guest or part of your network, but also that listens to you and jumps on these calls, because you strive and deliver some of the best content in real estate, in probate, relationship building, and analysis that is in existence. And it is truly rare to find somebody that cares as much as you do, and that can also, what I'll just lovingly say to as, deliver the goods. And it's very refreshing. It's an absolute honor to be on the show, in your space, and just know you. It's truly awesome. So I'm just saying thank you on behalf of all of us that are out in the world.
Wow.
We all took a vote. We just say,
Wow, well, it's good to know. They're talking about me. I knew they were talking about me. I wasn't sure what they were saying.
We had a meeting.
Casey, thanks so much as always. Thank you for all that you do, and what you've helped me in my career, and continued success with yours and your programs. And again, I recommend to everybody, Networking Riches will be in October. Sign up now, get in early. And again, Casey, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill.
And for the rest of you, this is Probate Weekly. We get together every week, and usually we get a probate attorney or maybe somebody, a vendor in the business. In this case, I believe it's somebody who was able to help us focus on how we build our business, how we build our network, and how we build the quality as well as the depth of those relationships. I hope you found this helpful as I did. Casey, it was a real privilege. You're really one of my mentors and coaches over the last 6 years. Really helped me launch the business that I have today, and I'm very proud of. So if you like this, please let me know. If you don't like it as well, give me some honest feedback. If you want to be interviewed on this call, or you know somebody who should be, send that along. If I can help, reach out at Bill Gross Probate on social media. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.